some women think
It's
he
just
has to
money.
have more money in order
Well,
to.
that's a part of societal norms and what we fell into,
Right,
this idea of materialism
right.
and what it means to, um, like you said, be a leader or a man. I ultimately believe that there are men who possess certain skills as well, meaning there are men who can build. They use their hands really well.
Okay. Um, what was it about the yoga that grabbed your attention? Like, how did you get into yoga?
So I've been doing yoga for about 6, 7 years prior to me actually getting my certificate.
Okay.
And I think for me, it was the holistic piece. So yoga is not just about the physical practice, but yoga is about the mind, body, and spirit and soul. So we're not just
Conversation that we need to have, right?
Okay, I'm
We
listening.
need to have this conversation so that we can ultimately come to that common ground. Because if you just bashing me and I'm just bashing you and we not finding a common ground as to what it is that I need as a man and what it is that you need as a woman, then this will be a continuous cycle. You guys just tuned into the Invisible Ladder. We have a special guest today. Not just a special guest, but also a very, very good friend of mine.
yes.
Yeah. So, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Name, whatever
So
you
my
like to
name
say.
is Lisa,
Okay.
and I have 3 children or 3 young adults. I am a yoga instructor, but I'm also into like the holistic living. So I'm a Reiki master. I do tantra. I do astrology. Right now, I'm focusing on the yoga piece and bringing that holistic approach to the community.
Okay.
So that's some of what I do.
Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming prior to that you work, a 9 to 5 or a regular job. What profession were you in prior to getting into the whole,
So
holistic
yes.
yoga and stuff like that?
So I am a nurse by
Okay.
trade, a
Okay.
registered nurse, and I've been doing that for about 10 or 12
10
years.
or 12 years.
So a really long time, and I still am in the field. But I've kind of moved outside of that, and I'm working with the entrepreneurial, kind of a mindset. So I'm bringing the yoga and the other things that I do to the community right now.
Okay. So I want to take a pause right there because I know for some of the viewers,
Yes.
they don't have the entrepreneurial mindset. They want to do something, but they just don't know how to make that transition. So for people that are or may be considering venturing into the entrepreneur ship, how did you make that transition? Was it difficult? Tell us about that that transition.
Yeah, so I'm still in the process of transitioning.
Okay.
RN is like my first love.
Okay.
So I do enjoy what I do.
Right.
I want a little bit more freedom. And so that's why I've decided to move more into entrepreneur. I wouldn't say it's hard. I would say that it takes some being intentional and possibly like writing some things out,
Right.
you know what I mean, that you want to do. And when you're done that 9 to 5, making sure that you're making that a priority in your life, getting those things done that you put down.
Okay.
So
What was it about the yoga that grabbed your attention? Like, how did you get into yoga?
so I've been doing yoga for about 6, 7 years prior to me actually getting my certificate.
Okay.
And I think for me, it was the holistic piece. So yoga is not just about the physical practice, but yoga is about the mind, body, and spirit and soul. So we're not just dealing with, okay, we're going to do some moves. We're integrating meditation. We're integrating diet. We're integrating, what else can I say? We're integrating. So it's basically a holistic practice. So that's one of the things that kind of drew me in with the yoga. And I have been enjoying teaching the younger children as well as the older adults. So I'm kind of trying to feel out where is it that I really am loving to be. But right now I'm just out in the community sharing my gift.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about yoga.
Okay.
Would you say that yoga is something for all age groups?
Yoga is something for everybody.
Okay.
So even younger children, because the idea of yoga is, here in here in the States, we talk about it as a physical practice, and it is beneficial for the weight loss piece, but it's also great for the breath work. So that's where I'm focusing at. So breath work in itself is important for all ages, 9 to 90. So it's a practice that you can go into the schools, you can go into the hospitals. It's great for even my job. I mean, as a nurse, being is sometimes that can be a high stress place. It's also great for high stress environments because it kind of brings you down and it grounds you in the moment.
And that was actually my next question. Like, what are some of the benefits? So I know
Yeah.
one of the things you said is like bringing stress down, breathing.
Breath work, we're talking about breath work, stress reliever. We also are going to bring in the physical aspect. It is going to allow you to be more flexible, but not just in your physical body, but also in your mind,
Okay.
right? It keeps you in the moment. That's the goal of yoga. The breath work is to keep you in the moment. Oftentimes we are doing something, but we're thinking about other things. So yoga is going to keep you in the moment. So those are some of the benefits. And there are many benefits. Weight loss is one of those benefits as
Okay.
well. So it's a holistic practice, and that's one of the great things about it.
Okay. So eventually, or maybe this is a question. Ultimately, what you would like to do is transition out of the nursing field and maybe open up a practice or.
So there's so many things that I can do with the yoga piece. There's an online piece, obviously, working with people through Zoom. There's also the opening up a yoga studio. I was also thinking about doing retreats, so yoga retreats, taking people out of their element and maybe by the water or,
Right.
in a place where it's calm and serene and having, good food, healthy foods, bringing the yoga piece in. And so those are some of the ideas. I have not yet decided fully on what it is that I'm going to be doing. Right now, I'm just getting myself out there in the
Right.
community so people
Okay.
know who I am.
Exactly.
And that's basically.
So, and I know the viewers probably want to hear this. As a nurse, you can make
Yes.
a substantial amount of money in a nursing field.
Yes.
You could do travel nursing. I've heard travel nurses can make 200 plus $1,000 a year, just crazy amounts of money.
Yes.
Is would the yoga field be a business that will allow you to earn a pretty healthy profit margin in terms of replacing your current income? Like, is that something that would allow you to have the still sustainability?
Yeah. I would say, depending on what it is that you want to do in the yoga field, there are yoga teachers that make a substantial amount of money.
Okay.
So there are different avenues. You have the yoga teachers who are on YouTube, then you have the people that have the studios. With that, the price margin is going to be a lot higher because the
Right.
people that are coming in are going to pay a little bit more. So that's also an avenue. And then you have your Zoom. So I would say that if it's something you're interested in, ultimately, I believe you can make, pretty good money to sustain your life, depending on your lifestyle and the way
Right.
that you choose to live your life. Yes, I'd say.
So for one that would want to get into yoga, how do you go about getting into it? Is it like a special certification that you have, a class?
Okay.
Is like a class that you have to take or to
Yeah.
actually instruct people?
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
so right now I'm a 200-hour yoga instructor. So there's obviously tiers as it is in any field that you're in. There's the 200-hour, 300 and 500-hour. So I'm basically at the 200-hour level. And yes, I did an online course. There are in-person courses that you can take, but the combination is videos and you have your literal book work that you have to do. But
Okay.
there's a certain amount of actual hours that you have to turn in. And then at the end, you have a practicum that you have to actually do a sequence and turn into the teacher. So there's a whole
Curriculum or
curriculum around.
okay.
Yes. So yes, there is a class that you need to take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So, um, if someone wanted to personally reach you, how could they
Yes,
reach you? You know, if they wanted to take some yoga classes. Obviously,
absolutely.
we're in the Maryland area. What do you have an Instagram or
Yes,
email, something where they could contact you at? And we'll
yes.
leave it in the description of this video. That way you can
Thank
get
you.
in contact. But what is the Instagram or
So I do have an Instagram and also have a YouTube. It's Yoga with Goddess Lisa.
okay?
And I currently have a YouTube channel. So there are a lot of beginner and intermediate focus classes that I'm doing on YouTube. And I'm also posting on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook, all under Yoga with Goddess Lisa. So that's where you can reach me if you're interested.
So it's interesting because it kind of sounds like podcasting. So like in podcasting, shout out to David Shands. There are multiple ways to be able to earn income. Like you said, you can do YouTube. I know a lot of people are doing Patreon. That may be something you want to
Patreon.
look into,
Yes.
and give like special techniques or something like that. You could start a podcast talking about it, right? Just so many different avenues. If they wanted to come to the studio or come to a workshop, maybe offer a workshop. So pretty
Absolutely.
interesting layout. I like it. I like it.
Yes.
I like it. I actually need to,
Well,
do
come
some
on, baby. Come on.
get into class and do some yoga myself. Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool,
And
cool.
one other thing that I am doing, and this isn't every week, but I am doing pop ups.
Okay.
So I'm posting those on my social media where I'm going outside. Right now, we're in a nice weather season. So
Okay.
I'm popping up outside to get into outdoor yoga.
Uh,
So I'm inviting people to come and do that as well.
okay.
So,
I also got a chance to check out your website, and I noticed you had
yes,
like jewelry, crystals, and stuff like that. Tell
yes.
us about that a little bit.
So I still make jewelry and mainly crystal jewelry, crystal and copper jewelry. So copper has a lot of different benefits to it, as well as the crystals bring a certain energy. So I do have quite a few items that I sell, and basically energy work. It
Okay.
falls under the energy work when I'm doing my Reiki, when I'm doing my Tantra. I'm using these crystals to elevate the space and create a sacred space around what it is that I'm doing.
So you said Reiki.
Yes,
I know a little bit about Reiki. What exactly is Reiki for the people
that
that
don't
don't know
know.
what Reiki is?
So Reiki is a universal energy that we work with. So basically working with energy. It is a practice that, depending on where you're at, can be very healing. It also, we work on the chakras, the specific chakras. So what it is, we entail, you come to me and you give me, maybe there's something that you want to work on, and we tailor a a desired fit for you with the Reiki. So we're basically working with the energy. But I tell people that it's not me who's healing you, it's you that's healing you. I'm the conduit. I am the
Okay.
conduit to allow you to heal through this energy. So that's a little bit about Reiki. So that's also on my
So
website.
so so pretty much cleansing and purifying the energy so that you can get the ultimate benefit of what you
Yes,
attract into your life. Because we
exactly.
because we all know that energy is a real thing, right?
Energy is a very real
You
thing.
you you are who you mostly associate yourself with. A lot of times it's kind of like the analogy I like to use is like you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you like stump your foot and then you get pissed off and now
Yeah,
you in a bad vibe, right? And it's just like everything after you, but
perpetuates,
yeah, it's
continues.
okay. All right, so
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, cleansing the energy, cleansing the aura, so that you can ultimately attract and put out the vibes that you want to get back into your life.
absolutely. And we're
Okay.
creating, to begin the practice, before we even get started, we want to create a sacred space. So we're saging, using Palo Santo to cleanse the aura before we even move into what it is that we want to deal with on an energetic level. So that's just a little bit about Reiki.
Yeah, listen, a lot of people don't think it's real, but I
Yeah.
strongly believe in vibes and energy around you. So that's a good thing. Okay.
Yes.
Cool, cool. So um they got the information, they know about the yoga. I got
Yes.
they know about the Reiki, they know where to
Yes.
contact you at. Let's maybe switch gears a little bit,
Okay.
right? Because as a friend, um,
Yes.
we had some very deep conversations, and we kind of want to get and see what your perception and what your thoughts is, as we look online and we see just like men bashing women and women bashing men, and just the negative connotation and pictures that they paint of how relationships are, just manipulative stuff that from people that haven't even been in a long-term relationship, maybe not even been married. So what's your thoughts on like what's going on day to day with men and women in that
So
regard?
I'm not fully tapped in
Gotcha.
on what is going on online. I know me and you have deep conversations and they can get pretty heightened in terms
Right.
of how we view things. We always come back to this place of love, which is wonderful. Um, my thought about the relationship piece is, I think that we need to come to the table and have a conversation. And when I say a conversation, I'm not talking about sitting and screaming and yelling at each other. Just basically how me and you talk. We are passionate about what we believe, but we also can come to some common ground
Right.
on some things. So I think first and foremost, we need to be open to come to the table, have some conversations, and start to unravel some of the misconceptions and some of the ways in which we're being. Because ultimately, for me, it's about me. Let me just start there. Ultimately, it's about me.
Okay.
If I'm in a relationship with somebody, the mirror is always looking at me. So the self work is always for me to do. I'm not pointing, my goal is not to point the finger at the person.
That's a real
So,
important point that you made, because oftentimes people don't want to take accountability,
okay.
and that's a lot of what we're hearing online, as to different parties pointing the finger. And I'm not gonna say women, but because I'm not that person, but men and women,
Yeah.
pointing the finger. He didn't do this. She didn't do that. I
Yeah.
talked about that in one of my previous videos.
Okay.
Okay, so accountability, you think, is a big thing
I
to
think that's
start with.
absolutely important. I think that, bar none, that is, for me, I'd say, moving through and navigating relationships, taking time to take the look at yourself and do the self work for you is, because ultimately we can't change another person. We can advise or, decide that we want to. And even that is I'm not sure if that's something we want to do in terms of telling people what they need to do, because I'm not sure of what someone else needs to do. So my goal is, and I'm not saying I'm always perfect at this. I'm saying my goal is to take a look at myself and continue to do the inner work so that I show up in the world as a better Lisa for
Why do you
others.
think we're in the current state that we are with, as in terms of
Yeah.
like it? I mean, I know that's a pretty broad question, but what do you think is like one of the core reasons why we're at this current state? Do you think it's media promoting these
Wow.
different things? Do you think it goes back to you know
Beyond.
modern days, like
Yeah. I think
energy, or
I think it's a combination of things. I don't think I have the right answer. That's why me and you talk. We have these conversations, and we're like, oh wow, Benny said something that was profound, or I have said something. So I don't think I have the answer. What I would say is, I definitely believe that media plays a part into what we decide we want to accept or not accept from a partner, or the opposite sex. I also think that some of our ways of being come from our parents and some of the trauma that we may have had growing up. Those things are ultimately going to play a part into how we coexist with our partner.
right?
So, yeah, that's That's what I would say.
I know you can't answer for
No.
every woman,
No.
right? But as a woman, excuse me, as a
Hmm.
woman, what what is it that you guys need from us men
Wow.
to, because and this is a conversation that we need to have, right?
Okay, I'm
we
listening.
need to have we need to have this conversation so that we can ultimately come to that common ground, because
Mm-hmm.
if you just bashing me
Yeah.
and I'm just bashing you, and we not finding a common ground as to what it is that I need as a man and what it is that you need as a woman, then this will be a continuous cycle. So like I said, I know you can't speak for all women, but
No.
what is it that you feel would make women be able to take constructive criticism? Because I know that like it's like I feel like
Okay.
women have been bashed so much they don't want to take good or bad criticism. It's just like I don't want to hear it at this
Mm-hmm.
point.
Okay. So, great question. I guess. Okay, what could we use? Let me see. I'm probably cut this part out. What I was
No,
just
it's
thinking
cool. It's
about.
cool. I know. I put you on the spot. I know
Like, wait a
it's
minute.
all organic. We like
Um,
nothing on this is scripted.
no,
We
it's not
this we
scripted.
straight to the point. It's
So
real tough.
I had a thought and it's fleeting. It left. So maybe it'll come back. Um, Different women need different things, obviously. For us to be able to take criticism, um, mm, lost my train of thought. So
Well,
we're gonna come
I'm a
back to it
speak.
again.
I'm gonna go ahead while you thinking about that. I'm gonna speak
Absolutely.
for the men,
Okay.
and I think some of the points that I'll make, a lot of men will agree with. I think
Okay.
as a man, we want someone that will listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the times, like you said, people are like me. They're so focused on themselves, they don't pay attention to anything outside of them. So if I come to you, not specifically you, but if I come to my lady and I say, hey, this is what I'm needing,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to put yourself aside,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ultimately, I think relationships work better when you have two individuals that are coming to the relationship to give,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to seeing what they can get.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and you giving me that same energy, how can we ever bump heads? You see
No,
what I'm
I'm with
saying?
you. I'm with you.
So
Yeah.
so I think we need to go to the relationship to give. We need women that can listen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear a lot of women say, "Hey, I'm looking for a man to lead. I want a man to lead." Well, if you don't listen and you can't take constructive criticism,
Mm-hmm.
how am I able to lead?
I got what you're saying.
You know
So
what I mean?
I'll start with your point where you said come into the relationship to give.
Right,
I think that's one of the points that we agree on.
right,
And my thought is the idea that what can I do to make your life better? Right? So if we both have that idea, we're moving in unison
right.
together. I will also say that the dynamics of man and woman has changed some from, you know, here we are in 2023 to look back to the 1960s, and I wasn't even here yet, but to do my history and know where we were, the dynamics of man and woman has changed a lot. So I think oftentimes there can be a challenge for particularly the woman that is quote unquote running her own show. She goes out and she works and makes her money or whatever the case may be. That may be more of a challenge for her to for lack of better words, acquiesce to the guy, in terms of, oh, I want someone to lead me. Well, I've been leading my whole life. Now I have to, kind of figure out what that looks like for me. And so that may be, a challenging spot for some women in terms of how
Do
they
you,
want
do
to move
you
forward.
think money the amount of money a person make determines on leading? Because I know I hear a lot of women look at it from that perspective. Oh, I make more money than him. He needs to make more money than me. Type of mindset in order to be a leader and a provider. Do you think? I think people get leading and providing
Mixed up.
mixed up. What's your
Well, let me say this. This is unpopular opinion,
right?
right? I don't believe that every man can lead every woman. I do believe that there are women who they possess a level of, I am a leader. This is where I am. This is how I stand in my integrity. I am a leader. So us having this conversation, I just want to preface it and say that. And then I can move into this provider slash, what'd you
Yeah,
say?
leader, like leading and
Provider,
provide. Yeah,
leading and provide. So you're saying people are getting that kind of
yeah.
mixed up.
Because here's my thoughts when it comes to it. A provider, I feel like, is a man that is going to do whatever it takes to make sure that his woman is okay. It
Okay.
doesn't necessarily mean money because he may have gifts and talents in other areas
Yeah.
that allows him to be a provider. You know what I'm saying?
So
Like,
we've had this, yeah,
yeah,
we've kind of had
yeah.
this
So it's
conversation.
like, if I pay the mortgage, right? And there are other things that need to be done, like cut the grass, doing this. Like I feel like that's a provider.
That's worthy of,
Picking up the kids from school
yeah,
and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
some women think
It's
he
just
has to
money.
have more money in order
Well,
to.
that's a part of societal norms and what we fell into
Right,
this idea of materialism
right,
and what it means to, like you said, be a leader or a man. I ultimately believe that there are men who possess certain skills as well, meaning there are men who can build. They use their hands really well, right? They can fix things. That's a very tangible thing and a
right,
very necessary thing that we need in our community. So when it comes to the money piece, I want to say that social media and the world around us speaks a lot to that in terms of, and this is why we need to have the conversation with each other and come together deciding what's important for us,
right,
because so every relationship is like, so unique and so different and so creative, because if you lead with the idea that we need to get these Rolexes next week and we
right,
got to pop out and grab these these Mercedes Benz, then you have a certain level of like, you lead with materialism, and whoever you bring in on that likelihood is, you have to keep that kind of a vibe up, and so to speak. So I think we just need to take a look at our relationship with money, okay, and deciding what's important for you
right,
in your relationship. Is the material piece a important piece for you?
right,
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that buying things is a bad thing.
right.
Me personally, more minimal. I live a little bit more minimal, but I think it's great to be able to purchase things that you enjoy and
Right.
like. I just think that
It shouldn't rule you.
is this a priority?
Exactly.
And it shouldn't be
Right.
your, is this going to be the thing that makes or breaks us because I can't have this particular thing?
Right.
Is there some balance there?
And that's what I talked about in one of my previous podcasts is like the intangible things are the things that are going to ultimately create a sustainable relationship, character, the way you talk to a person, how you treat that person, how the way you support that person,
The way you
right?
love that person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And no material possession can replace that, right? So
absolutely.
I think we need to change the mindset, and as the individuals come together and say, hey, outside of the material aspect, what do I need, right? But more importantly, the first thing is, have I healed my past traumas?
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's pretty good. So
Yes.
closing out,
Yeah.
I want to thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
attending or coming by the Invisible Ladder. Sharing your Invisible Ladder, how you made the transition into the yoga, the Reiki. Like I said, I'll drop your
Thank
information.
you.
If there's anything that you would like to say, closing out to the viewers, any inspiration, anything that could help a person to, I guess, achieve their goals or go after their dreams, anything that you would like to say in
Tangible.
that regard?
So first, I'll just say thank you. I appreciate you having me on. Always enjoy having these conversations. Um, so like I said, I'm more of a minimal kind of live a more of a minimalist life. For me, it's important for me to have, um, you know, family important isn't very important to me, and I don't have any one particular thing. I think the way in which I live my life has benefited others, in terms of my walk, and people seeing, those things in my life. But I don't have, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, we see y'all in the next video. As always, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at the top. It's your boy Real Talk Ben. Peace.